Alright, so this video is to review subtraction with regrouping. And this is an area where a lot of students struggle. So we're going to practice it real quick. And hopefully it can jog our memories as to how to do it. So we always start in the ones place, all the way over to the right. And we have to remind ourselves that we are doing a subtraction problem. So we have to do 1 minus 2. If I have 1, can I take away 2? No, I can't. So I have to go over to my neighbor and I have to ask, can I borrow 1? So I have to take away 1 from the 3. 3 minus 1 equals 2. Okay? And the one that I borrowed is now going to move back to the ones place because the ones place is the one that needed to borrow it. Okay? Now this number does not become a 2. Instead, it is now an 11. Okay? So now we have an 11 minus 2. 11 minus 2 is 9. So again, I couldn't take 2 away from 1, so I had to borrow from my neighbor. 3 minus 1 is 2. The one that I borrowed went over to the ones column. And this 1 makes the 1 in the ones column turn into an 11. Okay? So now I have 11 minus 2 is 9. Okay? So now in the tens column I have 2 minus 2 is, can I take 2 away from 2? Yes. So my answer, 2 minus 2 is 0. Move on to the next column. 2 minus 4. Can I take 4 away from 2? The answer is no, I can't. So I have to go over to my neighbor, ask to borrow 1. So I have to take away 1 from 7. 7 minus 1 is 6. The one I borrowed from the 7 moves back into the hundreds column. Now this is not a 2 plus a 1. This number is now a 12. So now we have 12 minus 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. Alright? So now that this column is done, I move on to the thousands place. Now I have 6 minus 8. Can I take 8 away from 6? No, it's not big enough. So I go to my neighbor and I ask Mr. 8 if I can borrow 1. And 8, so I take 8 minus 1 is 7. The one that I borrowed from the 8 goes where? Next to the 6. Now this number is 16. That's 16 minus 8. 16 minus 8 is 8. So now this column is done. And I'm ready to move on to the 10,000s place. Now I have 7 minus 6. 7 minus 6. Can I take 6 away from 7? Yes, I can, because 7 is bigger. So 7 minus 6 is 1. This column's done. So I move to the next column. 4 minus nothing is 4. This column's done, and I'm done with the problem. So my answer is 418,809. A lot of times we get confused because there's so many numbers. It's easier if we just take one group at a time. Start with your first group. Your ones place. When you're done with that, then we move on to the tens place. When you're done with that, you move on to the hundreds place. And so on and so forth. If you work it this way and you try not to worry about all these numbers over here, then it's a little bit easier to look at. Because a lot of times we get all confused with all these different numbers. Now that's a normal subtraction problem a lot of the time that you see. But every once in a while you have a subtraction problem that looks something like this. And it has a lot of zeros. Okay? And this is one that a lot of students have a really hard time with, so we're going to review it real quick. So here, again, I have to remember I'm subtracting. I have 1 minus 2. Can I take 2 away from 1? The answer is no. So I need to go to my neighbor and borrow 1. But wait a minute, my neighbor is a 0. Can I borrow from a 0? No, I cannot. Alright, so I'm going to go to the next neighbor. Can I borrow from this neighbor? It's a 0. No, I cannot. Go to the next neighbor. Can I borrow from this number? Yes, it's a 3. So I cross out the 3. I'm only taking 1 away from the 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. Now, here's what I have to remember. The one I borrowed from the 3 is not going to automatically go to the ones place. Okay? The one I borrowed from the 3 has to first go to this 0 in the ones place. Now it's a 10. Okay? But remember, I still needed to borrow here. So now I'm going to take away from the 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. Okay? And the one that I borrowed from the 10 goes to the tens place. But remember, my 1 still needs to borrow. So I'm going to say, okay, 10, I'm going to borrow 1 from you. 10 minus 1 is 9. The one I borrowed from this 10 finally gets back to the ones place. Alright, let me review that again. Okay, so you have 1 minus 2. I can't do it. I have to go to my neighbor. Nope, there's nothing there. Can't borrow. Go to my neighbor. Nope, can't do it there. There's nothing there. Go to my last neighbor. Yep, it's a 3. I can borrow. 3 minus 1 is 2. Now, the one I borrowed has to go to the hundreds place right next to it. So now I have a 10 here. But I can't do anything over here yet. So I still need to borrow. So now this becomes a 9. And the one I borrow from here goes to the tens place. Well, I still need 1. I still need more over here in my ones place. So I'm going to borrow again. 10 minus 1 is 9. And the one I borrowed from here finally gets back to the ones place. So now I have, remember, this number is 11. 11 minus 2 is what? 9. Now I have 9 minus 4. Can I take 4 away from 9? Yes, I can, because it's bigger. 9 minus 4 is 5. Go to the next column. 9 minus 2 is, can I take 2 away from 9? Yes, because it's bigger. 9 minus 2 is 7. And then the last place, 2 minus nothing is 2. So my answer is 2,759. I hope this helps a little bit with explaining how to do subtraction with regrouping. I would highly suggest, if you don't understand it, watch the video as many times as you need to until it kind of helps you. Look up other videos. Look up other strategies on the internet to help you with subtraction with regrouping. I hope this helps out a little bit, and good luck.